All right, you bald frauds. All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of my Raw review show or whatever this entails is supposed to be. Tonight I lost my page. Here we go. Okay. Tonight we're going to be talking about the events that unfolded on last night's show of Monday Night Raw. It was a banger show. It was a really good fucking show, honestly. From start to finish. There was a little bit of stuff that I really wasn't too interested in midway through, but honestly, I give the show, it was a pretty damn fun show. Really good follow up on the events that transpired on Saturday. So we start the show with a pissed off CM Punk, seething, scathing CM Punk right here, cutting probably one of the best promos of this year so far, honestly. As I mentioned, as I said at the start, bald frauds. CM Punk cuts off this promo and starts off this promo saying, "Listen up, Dwayne, you bald fraud." I fucking loved it. I fucking loved it. It was so damn good. He goes into reaming in how much of the bullshit The Rock is, mocking his fake Goosebumps arm, coming up with some of the best one-liners and hits, probably of his career so far. Um, some of my favorite notes that I have was I've never been so delusional. I've never been so delusional to wear a fake title and call myself the people's champion because I earn it. I fucking I loved it, dude. I was so there. I was so there for it, man. It's probably I literally before recording this video, I probably watched this like 4 or 5 times before because it's so fucking awesome. So Punk, he goes off on CM Punk, calling out John Cena, saying, Mr. You can't see me. Well, now we can all see you. And people can finally see what I've known about you for so long. And just goes ham on him, explaining, I never gave up on my dream. The only one who gave up was John Cena. Mr. Hustle, loyalty, and respect for 20 years. You're going to throw it all away. All the dreams and all the hopes and wishes of all these kids. He never gave up on his dream to main event WrestleMania. He said, you're going to make a wish that you never cross CM Punk. I fucking love that line. That's a killer line. You're gonna make a wish. Um, then he's just scathing. He's going off. This show started off immediately with Punk. He didn't even do any of his fanfare stuff. He didn't say what's up to the crowd. He didn't kiss any babies, shake any hands, sign any autographs. He did none of that. Man just went straight for the table to cut this promo, and then he gets interrupted by Mr. Sir Seth Franklin Rollins and goes to battle. This brawl was pretty fucking dope, honestly. I thought it was good because it's honestly something that I was kind of hoping that would happen because even though this CM Punk and Seth feud pretty much wrapped up last month on the debut of Raw, they've still got their little thing. Little brother Seth still wants his piece of the pie, still wants to fucking annihilate Punk. He wants CM Punk to die. He wants to kill CM Punk. And this brawl only added on top of that fuel of that fire. And honestly, we need some. We need some. This fire burns all the way for this shit. Um, they brawl over the arena. They brawl to the outside. They go into the ring. They end up brawling out into the stands during the commercial break. Apparently, yeah, they had a continuous fight. I did not see that. All I saw were the shitty fucking commercials. But hey, you know what? You can't win them all. So, CM Punk and Seth Rollins brawl. Honestly, um, I'm totally for this shit to be done with him and Seth. Um, as much as I am fine with Seth, I really just want to see this whole thing wrap up and then Seth be completely off of Punk's radar, much like how Drew has since Drew now being on SmackDown. It is he's kind of a non-issue anymore, especially their Hell in a Cell wrap up, them getting them fucking up Drew in the chamber, all that shit. I'm kind of ready to see this all end, and hopefully the final blow off next week, as Nick Aldis announced is gonna be a steel cage match, CM Punk versus Seth. Honestly, where do I think that's going? Probably some type of interruption, of course. Of course, you can't really interrupt a steel cage like that, like you traditionally can in a match. But I believe that we're gonna get some type of Roman involvement, and then that's gonna, end up bleeding into what's gonna happen to the future. Maybe, we get the long-awaited, hopefully long-awaited Seth versus Roman match, because I don't think they've really ever had a one-on-one that I'm thinking about. Or I could just be totally forgetting thousands of the matches that they probably had that I'm just not remembering. But honestly, I don't remember seeing Roman and Seth one-on-one. I would totally be down for that shit. Like, next week, they're fighting in the match. Maybe, somehow, Seth is maybe about to win, but then here comes, Roman doing some shit. Maybe, he attacks before the match, much like Jade Cargill, or he attacks after. We continue, that storyline between those two because it really hasn't finished after he double curb stomped, Roman at the Royal Rumble, and I honestly thought we were gonna get more of a heelish Seth Rollins. He's kind of still been his self teetering in the middle, Seth. So who knows where we're gonna go with that. But that ends this, like I said right here. The brawl continues. Adam Pearce announces the match for next week. We move on. One thing I thought honestly though was funny about this little segment before we wrap up here. These four security guards, they guard Seth's bus, but they only stand directly in front of Seth's bus, which is really fucking goofy because it's like Seth, if he really wanted to, can just, creak open the door real lightly and go tiptoeing out, sneaking out the shit like a cartoon character. I thought that shit would be fucking hilarious, but, we don't get that. We don't get that visual, sadly. Gunther immediately starts the next segment. He comes out. Well, actually, American Alpha, they don't get an entrance on TV, but we immediately see Gunther coming out. He talks about Otis. He says, you know, they say that you're a freak of nature, but to me, you're just a freak and a clown. He says, have you actually looked at yourself? Because when I look at myself, I see, a champion. I see the belt around my waist that says that I'm the champion. I bet when you look in the mirror, you can find a belt that fits. Fucking making a good mockery out of Otis. Honestly, I feel like this whole burn into Mania with Jay, it's not fizzled out yet, but it's kind of been the same. You know what I mean? But we don't get Jay Uso yet. This match was low key pretty good. Honestly, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Um, because for a few moments there, it really did seem like Otis was gonna pull through, maybe get some good shit on Gunther. He gets a good few attacks, like during the match, he does a fall away slam onto the outside to Gunther, which was fucking brutal. I think that ended up scraping Gunther's knee or whatever. You later in the match you see throughout the duration, the end of it, Gunther has a cut on his knee. Um, but no, Gunther gets in plenty of brutal big boots. Honestly, he was heavily reliant on that move this match because I assume because Gunther's stature, he's very tall, and then Otis' stature, he's a pretty about medium weight. So if anything, good big boot out the way to a motherfucker is a good tool to use. Like I said, he does that crazy ass right there. He catches Gunther pretty good at that move. Um, Gunther, of course, does his patented Dino kick into powerbomb. But before then, we get our man's Otis hitting that sweet, sweet worm. Probably giving what's his name, Mr. Sexay, a bit of a run for his money on that. Misses that splash. We get Gunther. There we go. Dinosaur drop kick. Can't go wrong with that. I think right here we get into the end of the match. She's gonna hit that power bomb, but he counters. A good counter. Now I'm just narrating this match as it's happening on my mini monitor, as you can see here. But you know what? If you can see it, if I can see it, what's the point? What's so wrong about that, right? We're watching it a little bit. It's a little bit of a watch party. Um, but no. So that's pretty much what. Hey, he is at counter. Yeah, he does the counter. So midway through the match, he hits the power bomb. He gets all the way through, and then, as you assume, what would happen, and as we all know, Gunther wins the match. But most of the match, look, he's looking at this. He's like, what do I gotta do to put Otis away? Otis is actually more of a challenge than fucking Tozawa was, because of course he's fucking Otis. He's much bigger. Um, he does it. Gunther counters. He hits his power bomb to Otis, and then he ends up winning. Midway through the match, as you can see right here, he picks up Tozawa, which I have written on my notes. Picks up Tozawa, power bombs Otis with his homie, and then he goes to put him in. I believe he was gonna do the reversal. He was gonna power bomb. He was gonna power bomb Otis with Tozawa, which honestly probably would have killed the little guy. Um, Jey Uso comes out, yeeting, no dancing yet, but honestly, they're kind of slow burning this. We said 10 weeks of pain, and it hasn't been too painful for old Jey Uso. We get Grayson Waller, um, and Austin Theory coming out right here. Hopefully, trying to fuck over Jey Uso, which I actually kind of do. Um, Sorry, I just ate and I'm burping, so I don't want to burp directly into the microphone because that's really gross. But no, so right here, as you can see, A Town Down Under comes in to try to fuck with Jay, because last week, as I remember, they were talking shit about Jay in the back when he's like, how come when Grayson Waller, oh yeah, or how come all your friends that you have end up in the infirmary? How come they always end up battered and beaten and bandages and bruised? So they get their shit. Honestly, I'm a little upset with what they've done with Austin Theory, man. I'm not a big fan of Grayson Waller, but I do like me some Austin Theory. Um, Especially when they did that shit last year with, I don't know what I'm talking, but then when they did that shit last year with or 2 years ago, I believe now, when it was Austin Theory and The Rock, and then he was like, finally, Austin and The Rock are back in the ring, all that shit. They really had a good push for him. I think McMahon really liked himself some Austin Theory, but he's kind of getting pushed to the wayside with this new regime. But hey, you know what? As long as we get Austin Theory in some form of way, I want to see it. Gunther puts our man Jey Uso to sleep. He's out for the rest of the show. Next we get Ivy Nile versus Valkyria, which honestly I don't even know. They're doing nothing with Lila Valkyria. Like, they're legitimately just having her in matches and hoping that we care. You know what I mean? Like, I never get excited when I see Lyra Valkyria. I honestly, that's when I know it's time for me to get some food. Time for me, to get a snack break, a drink refill, all that kind of shit. You know what I mean? That's usually when I see the Lyra Valkyria or Ivy Nile stuff come out. But um, mostly, Ivy Nile puts on, honestly, mostly a good fight over. I really thought that we were probably going to get finally an arc with Lyra Valkyria and the title. I was thinking maybe, Ivy Nile loses. She finally, gets the title. They do like a little bit, maybe American made, gets a little bit of some momentum so that, they could actually maybe work another story into it, because I feel like maybe with Lyra Valkyria, she winning the title wasn't, that should have been the whole, like, I heard this argument with the stupid shit with the tag titles and Private Party on AEW. You know what I mean? Like, they need to build her up like how they needed to build up Private Party, and then they take the title off of the Hurt or the Pain Syndicate, or whatever the fuck they're called, the Hurt Foundation. The Hurt Foundation, that should be another one. They got the Heart Foundation. We should have the Hurt Foundation. Where's that? Where's the Hurt Foundation? um But so where I'm going with that is I remember people saying, "Oh, they took the titles off a private party to build them up." It's like, no, isn't that the whole point to build them up to the title? So why the fuck would we do that kind of shit with Lyra? You know what I mean? But Lyra needs to lose the title in some way to where it makes it interesting for her because she's like a non-character. She doesn't do anything interesting. She doesn't say anything interesting. She doesn't have any interesting moves or wrestling, holds or anything special. She's just there on the show. She doesn't provide anything. And it's kind of annoying. Because I wanted to be interested because I like, the women's division, like I said, but it's kind of just mainly being held up by Rhea Ripley right now. Um, Jordan Grace is coming over, and Roxanne Perez is honestly doing a pretty damn good job. But besides that, it's like, what else are we gonna do here? And I honestly I thought Ivy Nile had the match. We can have American Alpha have some gold or American. There's so many American made, American Alpha, American blah 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 teams. Give me a second. Hold on. Okay, American made. Yeah, they're American made. American Alpha is Tozawa's team, but so I thought, yeah, Ivy Nile was gonna win this shit because she really put on a good showing, and there's a moment in here where Lyra Valkyria goes into like suplex position, and then Jordan just holds her for like fucking like 10 seconds. She even remaneuvers her for the suplex, and then drops her. That was a good ass suplex, dude. Like I really thought we would have gotten a switch here, which probably would have been good for Lyra Valkyria's character, give her something more to fight for, or just don't even. I don't. I never seen or heard of her. I never seen or heard of her before June 6th or January 6th. That's just me. But hey, do you know what? Whatever. Ivy Nile loses. I call bullshit. That's literally what I said because she has so much left in this tank in the match from her physically standpoint. That was not enough to take out, scrawny as fuck Mrs. Valkyria. But you know what? It's not my show to write. So what do I know, right? As we just saw in the minute before this segment came up, we saw the Chad Gable, the little Chad Gable promo where he is learning the dark arts of lucha. So I believe he's probably going to be becoming a luchador himself by having some insane goofy mask or just some insane style mask where it's like he's just gonna give him the power of the patriot. You know what I mean? He's gonna be a masked man, and then maybe we'll see where eventually that goes with the rest of American Alpha. Um, Before that, Penta. Penta destroys Ludwig Kaiser. Ludwig Kaiser comes out. He cuts some type of a promo. Say, I am the best and I'm so good. I can't do I can't do one's very good German accent like Kaiser. He has a very certain one. He doesn't have like the very stereotypical accent. Okay, bit of minor technical difficulty there. I ran out of phone storage during my little Ludwig Kaiser making fun of. But no, yeah, Penta comes out. He says he's the greatest ever, and then Penta pretty much fucks him up. He hits a dope ass top rope over suicide dive, completely making Kaiser a total bitch. Like, I mean, I get because Penta is still a bit mid cardy. You know what I mean? He haven't feud with these kind of guys, but I mean, I do want to see that like Braun Breaker Penta. I thought that would be sick. You know what I mean? The man with zero fear versus the fucking bulldog. Woof, woof, woof. That shit. You know? Fuck yeah. Um, what was this? Speaking of our man, the pit bull. Um, I don't think I have it loaded up on the video. I didn't take too many notes about this part because again, I was getting food. Okay, so don't be too judgmental. So while I was getting food, I heard a Finn Balor and Braun Breaker segment to where, apparently, if you had the regular version, you had commercials, or you didn't have there was a cool full segment before this, before it was a whole interview segment with Braun Breaker. But apparently when we came back on Netflix watching it in the US, we only got up to this part. So, what are you gonna fucking do? Um He cuts a badass promo and then eventually leads Finn to walking out, and then this kind of culminates in a fucking hilarious Judgment Day beatdown. They just fucking get their asses handed to him, man. And Carlito, we'll get to that in a moment. So they're having their little argument, and honestly, I feel like Finn Balor should have his moment in the sun again. I say this almost every fucking video. Finn Balor was so fucking cool. Why can't we get old school cool Finn Balor? When he says, I school new chumps like you for breakfast, he ain't fucking joking. He ain't fucking joking. Go back and watch some of old Finn Balor's classic NXT, black and gold, and back when he debuted on the main roster shit. He was annihilating motherfuckers. He was so badass. But now he's reduced to being a fucking clown, like Carlito. Look at how are you gonna attack a man like Braun Breaker by just let hop and then a briskful jog to the man. You're not. He's already expecting that. Here comes Dominic Mysterio doing goddamn nothing about it. Here he is getting fucking belly to bellied, and then we're just wait. he's looking, he's looking all fucking scared, dude. Oh man, he gets the better of him with a sling blade. But then not for long though, because as we know, how the hell do you control a man like Braun Breaker? How do you put a man like that down? You need like someone like Jacob Fatu. I want to see Jacob Fatu and Braun Breaker, man. I want to see these two animals. I want to see the bulldog or the pit bull, where the fuck they call the pit bull, and the werewolf. Dude, that'd be awesome. Um, he fucking press slams him, rips off his shirt. He's about to go ahead and spear our man Finn. He's about to spear him out of his fucking fit. But then our little sneaky bastard Dominic comes up, pulls him away. They slay off. I thought he was gonna go charge at them too, but instead we got a better moment. We got a better moment with that. Them run hightailing it out of there. And then we instead get our boy Brawny B, Big B Braun, fucking demolishing Carly. I thought he was gonna spear him through the barricade because that would have been a sick moment. You know what I mean? But uh, oh, fucking speared the life at him. And then I thought he was gonna go charge them too and just go like full on front fucking tackle to those guys, but that's not what we got. And yeah, no, that was that segment. Next is the War Raiders versus American Alpha. I get everyone's American teams confused, and can you blame me? They have the same initials, American made, American Alpha, AA. They both have, a group of a couple people who's wearing singlets. It's easily to get confused. They put on a great showing against these two guys. Honestly, they were doing some pretty good stuff. They're very athletic. These two I forgot their names entirely for a moment because it totally slipped because I was thinking about the next segment. But they hit some pretty good moves. The shooting star press. One of the American boys hits a 450 splash that was all knee pretty much. You know what I mean? He barely hit that. Eric or Ivar was the last person he hit with that move. But no, that's pretty much. I don't have too much written for that match. Honestly, I was too busy watching it, and then writing the significant parts. That's kind of what I've been doing, writing them as I'm watching them, and then sometimes I'll write it after I watch it. So I have some of these notes. I have the notes that I particularly wanted to get down. But then your main event, the main event. That shit nobody fucking expected, man. It was Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky. Can she put Io away? They have battled constantly. Well, not constantly, actually. Maybe 3 times. And then in these battles, Io Sky has always had Rhea Ripley beat. So they go through the whole match, going through the motions. It wasn't too bad. Not much sloppiness. But it was a great competitive effort from them both. One thing that I constantly noticed through the match was that Rhea just cannot put Io Sky away. She is just constantly having her at every opportune, she is hitting these counters. She is, doing these certain maneuvers at the right time. She's hitting her with all her, her damage control, homies moves. Asuka's, grapple move, the Dakota Kai kick on, the Kairi Sane elbow. She's going everywhere with this shit, bro. It was pretty dope. It's pretty dope seeing her, pull out the bag, the moves of her homies to beat Rhea Ripley. Um, and then do like sunset flip power bomb, which leads to this segment, which we got down right here, to where Bianca Belair was sitting outside the ring. She ended up, cheering on Io Sky, clapping her to get her up or whatever. Rhea Ripley gets in the bitch's face, like saying, "Hey, you don't want to fight me? What's your fucking problem? What? You don't want to fight me, bruh?" And then it just turns into this whole little issue of chaos, to where she is not happy and she ends up losing. Right here. She tries to go for a top rope riptide, but giving goddamn Io Sky all that breathing room, all that time she spent fucking talking with goddamn Rhea Ripley. I mean Bianca. She could have been doing her fucking move. She could have been doing her fucking move, but she decides not to, and decides to yuck it up and cry baby about goddamn nothing to Bianca Belair. But she ends up losing. Insecure Rhea is what I put right here. Insecure Rhea, and then Io Sky wins in a very big shock. I did not expect that. I thought we were just going to carry this title to Mania, Bianca versus Rhea, but I guess they're not ready to do that yet. And I guess too, that's kind of in the cooker. You know what I mean? That's kind of we're gonna let that one bake and cook for the next couple months. Triple H, he's not great at everything. Like I said, the Lyra Valkyria and some of this other shit in the show is kind of boring. Sometimes. But, god damn it, he can really twist you around like a goddamn pretzel. With these swerves and shit, man. But, yeah, as you saw, that's the show. The show wrapped up with Io Sky winning. And the new champion is Io Sky. She is going to fight Bianca Belair at WrestleMania for the championship. It should be a classic. I'm very looking forward to what happens next week. Once we get on to SmackDown as well later this week, to see what happens with Cody and The Rock, and just what the hell else is gonna happen, because we all know that fucking minutia was huge.